That's What He Said with Cedric D. Sanders.
100% real, raw, and uncut. Deadass.
Hello, my name is Cedric, and along with my beautiful wife, Connie, we'll be hosting my brand new podcast, That's What I Said. I'm a retired Navy veteran that suffers from PTSD and anxiety, and we'll discuss how I cope with the mental illness through comedy and discussion. It's a podcast that will talk about everything from cryptocurrency to comedy. If we're worrying about the dollar going up and down, up and down, up and down, and it's still a dollar, guess what? The value of that means absolutely nothing. Cryptocurrency in itself is the future of money. From spirituality to cannabis. To have cannabis on the Schedule 1 list is bullshit. I'm sorry, it is. It makes absolutely no sense. If it's a seed that can be planted and it has healing properties in it, why the hell is it in Schedule 1? Last time I checked, cocaine don't have healing property in it. From interracial relationships, I don't have a problem with people talking about interracial relationships. People try to talk bad about my interracial relationship just to think that they can get under my skin. I mean, really, it don't bother me. I mean, let's not make, call a spade a spade. But if you have a problem with someone that's in love, it shouldn't matter the race of the person. It's a mental illness in our community. The problem is people want to put labels on it. Everybody wants to put color on everything. And as soon as you put color on it, it gets treated differently. The money gets treated funny. Because if it's dealing with Asians, guess what? It's going to take a longer process unless those leaders step up and get into the president's face or U.S. leaders' face and say, this is a problem in our community. Not leaving one topic unturned. If you want to hear real, authentic conversation, interviews, and comedy, please take time to listen to That's What I Said, because I said what I said.
Giving you 100% authentic, real, raw, unapologetic truth with no filter. Listen to That's What I Said. Available on your favorite podcast platform.
Welcome to another episode of That's What I Said with Cedric Sanders. Giving you 100% authentic, real, raw, unapologetic truth with no filters. This broadcast starts now.
Hey. What's good, everybody? What's good? Y'all already know what time it is and what time of the week it is. So let's forget all them formalities because y'all been here long enough and I ain't going to bore y'all with it. So y'all know what time it is. That's What I Said, the podcast live and direct, as always on Tuesday, 7:30-ish p.m. on Tuesday. What's good, babe?
What's good? What's good? What's good? Thanks for tapping in and tuning in for another fantastic episode. I'm ready to go. I think the topic tonight is gonna be a good one to sit back and have the conversation and have the people, listen in and jump in the chat for live discussion.
No doubt. It's funny we're talking about this because I wanted to have something that we could discuss, and it's something that I think is needed. Besides the fact of how people want to, steer the direction of how the government or whatever the case may be has not given us, the opportunity or platform to discuss finances and how it affects our community. But I think also in that same token, it should be something that is discussed, period, in our homes. And it's something that is not being done. So tonight's topic, kids and money, starting wealth at home. It starts at home.
Yeah.
I
think in our era, it was either a missed opportunity or it just wasn't discussed.
So, yeah, you're right. And as always, thanks for joining us on That's What I Said, episode 99. Episode 99. So 99 is the number. That means Thursday's podcast will be live podcast episode 100. So live podcast that we've done is actually 95. Total podcast. I'm sorry. Yeah, total live podcast 95. We've done 5 recorded interviews. So
damn.
It's 100 will be Thursday. Thursday will be another, the 100th episode. Excuse me. So how do you feel? What do you think?
I'm just shocked that we've progressed already to the 100th episode. Not shocked in the fact that you have been doing this for almost 5 straight years.
This is 100 episode for That's What I Said, just so y'all know. But
yeah, since
as far as podcasts, this is like 170 something. It's like 100. It's in the 170s.
Yeah, and I've only been on air with you for a little over a year.
Well, we have to go back and count how many episodes.
Yeah, I think it's just been a little over a year, but
right.
It's impressive.
It is. It's just dedication.
Just the growth.
The growth, the dedication, the continued resilience of being on time and being there for not just something that you love to do, but, as you develop fans because of your content, you want to continue to give them the education as well as the comedy and discussions that people are not having, no matter where you look, no matter what's going on. People are having discussions like this, but they're having it with closed groups because only those group of people know about it, and everybody else is just like, I ain't got time for that.
Right.
And not saying that all those discussions are meaningful conversations, because we all know we've had our fair share of the bullshit. And
yeah,
I'm sorry, when it comes to, I think this is my opinion. I think the one thing that's often overlooked when it comes to finance is teaching our kids about it.
Right.
And when we have a discussion about it, people like to just ignore the fact that it's not just about what it's about having your offspring or having your kids or having your generation or your legacy,
right,
be able to actually learn something that you didn't have a chance to learn, so that they would be actually a lot better with it. And you are furthermore educating yourself on these things. And maybe at some point they will be able to educate you, and help you out. Because it's not just a one-way street. You should always be the student, not always the teacher.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And interestingly enough, having this topic be the conversation that we're going to discuss this evening, there's been a couple of different times where I've talked to my own children and they're like, Mom, how come this wasn't talked about, or why didn't we learn this growing up?
And that's an easy answer. Why would they have known to even teach you that?
Right.
That's just,
not
people.
Just that, but, not myself having a full-on understanding of finances, even though I was in my 30s, late 20s, early 30s,
But I think that's where people start pushing the blame game. You can't blame your parents for what you don't know about money. And even today's day and age, our kids can't get mad at us for us not teaching them better with money, because that was not something that a lot of people, believe it or not, that's not a lot of things parents are even thinking about. They're thinking about paying the bills, making sure you got clothes on your back, doing good in school. I got to work this job. Do we have enough money for this? Are we going to go on this vacation? It's like you think of so many different things that you could have, would have, should have, or wish you would have had.
Right.
But we can't blame. The whole sole responsibility is not for our parents to ensure that, we knew about money because later in life we wish we would have had the education. No, that's something that we all have to be aware of now and stop it.
Yeah.
We can't, it was designed the way it was designed. Yes, now we're waking up and realizing that this is all just a program that we all are following because this is what's been set forth from us for generations, and that's what we must follow. But we have to understand that if we're complaining about bad habits, what are we doing to actually change those bad habits? We're not doing nothing. All we're doing is talking about it.
Yeah.
We're saying that it's a bad habit. We're saying that it's something that is often overlooked. Well, if it's often overlooked, when does it stop? It should stop with us. We shouldn't wait for permission to stop the BS that's going on in our education system and start teaching our kids how to balance a checkbook, how to effectively be able to do a budget. What does saving mean? Where should you put your money in savings? What is a different type of savings? These are the conversations that we should be having, even if we don't know the answers.
Right, exactly.
We should have those conversations. There's no excuses behind that.
Yeah. And a comment that just popped up. Thanks, Body. It says when we was coming up, parents would always tell us to stay in a child's place.
Absolutely. I 1,000%
wholeheartedly agree. So
1,000% agree with that. It's stay out of grown folks, business and things like that. So it's like we weren't subject to hearing about why this bill is late and you're spending your money on alcohol. We hear the arguments and stuff like that, but where does the education come from? It's trauma for us.
Right, because we was always told, go outside and play.
Right, go outside and play. Now, it's like, you better not go outside. You know them damn crazy-ass kids down there shooting and shit. Don't be out there playing. You better go in the backyard.
Right.
Get in your own backyard. Stay in your own yard.
Yep.
So, to me, everybody wants to make excuses instead of steering the ship so that it goes in the direction it should go naturally and help educate our kids. I think if our kids were wanting to learn instead of being forced to learn, things would be a completely different conversation. But see, we force our kids in the education system. Everybody's like, well, I ain't got time to homeschool them because, I just don't know. I'm intimidated. No, stop using that as an excuse. It has to start somewhere. You have to put your foot down and realize that the education system was not built. Nowhere in the vicinity was it built for black people. The education system was never brought into existence to educate black people. It was to educate non-thinking people. So why not be able to put the black people in the mix? It was created to educate. It wasn't created to make someone rich. It was a money cash cow. And people want to sit here and just think that, I'm telling you what it is. It was a control system. Rockefeller created to control people. He didn't want, I say this, I don't know how many fucking podcasts. I'm going to stop saying it. He literally created the Board of Education because he didn't want thinkers. He wanted workers. And in order to work, you have to be educated.
Yeah.
There's some basic education that you need to know so that you can become a worker, not a thinker. The sad reality of this is that it's still going on.
Yeah, that's the unfortunate part.
And the bad part about it is the people that's complaining about it because they know it's a problem, all they doing is talking about it.
Yeah, there's no traction. There's no doing behind it.
Oh, I'm gonna open up a school and prove to the world that this is the school that we need to be adopting and using so that our kids can actually get an education. And then how much does it cost? So who is this for? Who is this program for?
Right.
it's like you want money for it because you want some reciprocity for the creation that you get. I get it, bro. I get it, sis. I get it. But where's the reciprocity in the community? And hey, pick that word up, babe, and see what the meaning is from body in the comments. So I think this is my thing. When I created this podcast, it was going to go in the lane of just me being able to express myself how I deemed I need to express myself. As someone that suffers from PTSD and anxiety, you have a lot of thoughts, you have a lot of realizations. But then it turned into not just those thoughts and realizations within my personality. It became more of a, what do you know, Sid? How are you going to setify these people today? And that's what I call them. It's my little setifications or setify, ideas. It's to setify y'all.
So
hold on. So I want y'all to be able to understand this, because this podcast is not just a podcast where we just be yipping and yapping. This is actually conversations that people should be having, not just with their kids, but even with their loved ones or just with themselves. That's what this podcast is about. That's what it's for. So go ahead, babe. Tell me what's the
So Kaizen, Kaizen. Kaizen is a concept referring to business activities that continuously improve all functions and involve all employees from the CEO to the assembly line workers. It also applies to processes such as purchasing, logistics that cross organizational boundaries into the supply chain.
Okay.
And it's a Japanese term that means change for the better or continuous improvement.
So I'm not gonna lie, when I first heard this, I thought it was like a tropical fruit or something. Like lean. Yeah. I mean, yes, it's a Japanese philosophy for continuous improvement. It means continuous improvement, which means the business is created in a way that most businesses should be created. And I will say this, I think it's not all in representation of what businesses should do. But let me see, what else does it say? It says it's all about those 10 little changes you make every day that you can lead to big knock your socks off results every time. Oh, so this is not just work. This is actually in life.
Lean Six Sigma. I mean,
yes.
Really and truly, because the funny thing is,
I saw that too when she said like lean, and I had to let it marinate. Yeah.
And I just had a working group called a Kaizen at work.
I'm done.
Literally, like over the last couple of months. So I never put the word together until Body put it in the comment, and I'm like, Kaizen.
I've seen that before.
That.
I didn't say nothing because, okay, I have heard about Kaizen just when Hope put lean in there, and it had to click for me. I was like, that's that Six Sigma. And guess what?
Yep.
They have their whole presentation of it. When it's explained to people, they talk about Kaizen. Mm-hmm. They go into detail about how these programs that are set up for the select few are to help the continuous improvement of this person's life, not just job, life. Mm-hmm. See, they encompass life, because guess what? If your life wasn't there at that job, how can they get the production that they get out of you? Mm. Yeah, I'm kind of leaning into that that how Rockefeller wanted workers.
Right.
But see, when they threw this Six Sigma in there, or the Kaizen in there, this gave people purpose through the reality that this job wants to see me do better, not just in this job,
right,
but in life.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, in life, you mean every day when I'm getting up, I'm saying affirmations and I'm appreciating myself and I'm smiling and discussing my life and just being just in zen with me. And this is before I go to work. And people at work are in that same attitude. Oh, it ain't gonna be nothing. Ain't gonna be no beef in that work. You ain't gonna have to worry about no side chicks at work. You ain't gonna have to worry about work husband and work wife shit. You ain't gonna have to worry about none of that. People are gonna be so just in the yes. How can I improve me?
Yep.
And it's like, it's funny that Body said that.
Personal development.
When, yes, one of the things that I try to do on this podcast is personal development. And it goes full circle. When you can better you can better the crew.
Exactly.
If you can better you can better the crew. Okay? Your sense and purpose in life is to be the example for your kids. And everybody was like, man, that's what the church tells you and blah, blah, blah. No, this is what life is telling you. Mm-hmm. Circumstances have changed the reality, how we see things, and we choose not to even receive that.
Yeah.
We just want to say, oh, I lucked up and got a good job, and me and my husband, we doing good. Our kids are taken care of, and they do this and they do that, and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, lo and behold, you got one person dealing with high blood pressure because he's stressed the hell out because, he has to make sure he works overtime to make sure he has enough money to pay the bills to keep the wife happy, while the wife is stressed out because she knows the situation, but she feels like, you know what, I probably need to go back to work, even though he will get mad at me for going back to work. I need to go back to work. So these are the conversations that traditional husband and wife, people have, and have this, this bad reception of marriage, when really people don't realize that some people's dynamic and the way they grew up was to serve a man. I want y'all to listen to this conversation real quick. How is this any part of Kaizen, or even just being an improvement in your life, if you were taught how to serve a man? Not be the team player. Not be the person that helps make decisions, where you can sit down and actually have a conversation. Yeah, you have a clear leader in the house, but you also have clear support in the house. When is these conversations going to happen so that we could teach our kids better? See, we have to start at the very beginning of how we were taught. I'm not saying that it's a bad idea if you want to serve your man, but listen to the word serve. They want you to do that at church too, right? I'm going to let that marinate. It's not about your service. It's about your loyalty. When you make a commitment to be with somebody for the rest of your life, regardless if it's a marriage or if it's a partnership, your responsibility is what you create. You don't just bring something on this earth and then let them figure it out.
Drop it off and walk away.
What the?
You said you just don't bring something on, bring something on this earth. And I was like, yeah, and drop it off and walk away.
Right.
You can't do that.
I mean, let me sip my water.
While you do that, I'm going to read the first quote of the evening, because I think it ties in to the conversation that we're having right now. Author unknown. It takes just one person in the family who thinks about money differently and puts a plan in place to create wealth that will carry on for generations.
I just lost my thought.
My bad.
No, what I was talking about. I had a thought, but it went away. Forgive me. That's what happens when you do a live podcast. You get the reality, and that's what I like. I don't want something edited or anything that, regardless of what you're doing. You could be washing dishes. You could be cooking dinner. You could be just relaxing for the evening.
You were talking about being a servant.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Maybe I should look at the comments. Servant, yeah, duh. I
didn't have to look.
So why is this my analogy? No, we're not going down the rabbit hole. This is just me. This is how I am. This is how I guess you can say, come into after my experiences with failed relationships. The man is not always right. The man ain't always right.
You might have to say that a little louder for all those folks in the back.
But the woman ain't either.
You are absolutely correct. We are not always
We are
right.
not one better than the other.
There
It's the whole...
There should be an even keel.
Do you... Let me... Y'all about to make me have this conversation, and I really... Okay.
Don't hit the button.
I'm not gonna hit the button. Okay, y'all. This is the podcast. This is what y'all like to hear. Y'all need to be sharing this because this is what you get on a live podcast. All right. So, do people wonder why we are attracted to the sex that we are attracted to? This is not about straight, gay, bisexual, pansexual. It's not about that. Queer. It's not about trans. It's not about that. Okay. I'm not going to talk about trans. No, I'm not. I might. But anyway, people don't realize you are naturally attracted to who you're naturally attracted to because of what you're exposed to on TV. It's a program. Why do you think they have sex education? It's an indoctrination to tell you what you should do when you get to that moment of feeling sexually aroused, what you are supposed to do with your instruments. That's what they're there for. Oh, and guess what? You're going to start growing hair on some shit. And women, you're going to start growing something out in front of you. And you're going to be like, what is this? What is this? They got to indoctrinate you on your body, your avatar. When you come into this education system. But we are so worried about who we serve and who we please when we don't even really realize, we don't even know who the hell we are. Yet I'm putting myself on the line to say I actually am attracted to this type of person. And then somebody got something to say about it. Where are they building these people at? I mean, where are they building these people at?
It has to be a workshop somewhere that all are in attendance.
I think some of these people have so many failed relationships that they are dead set on paying attention to everybody else's and can't even pay attention to their own. They so much worried about who you with.
Lego. Yeah, because don't step on them bitches. They hurt like a mug.
Oh, Lord. You know what? This is the problem. We need to have the conversations with our children, and we need to be able to be aware of all this, because everything that I was just talking about is the confused state of mind that a lot of our parents are in. Yet people are on their knees saying, why didn't you teach me this when I was a kid? What are you jealous about? Somebody you know got something better than you and you didn't think they was going to be shit in high school? I mean, let's be real. Are we talking about the Joneses and what they got?
Yeah, they're keeping up with the Joneses.
And it's not even just about keeping up with the Joneses. It's just that some people are just jealous at what people have.
You're right.
People have this automatic assumption that black men are with white women because they're leaning on their, their finances.
Yeah.
I can tell you for one,
automatic judgment I'm
gonna tell you for one, get this stereotype out of there. That shit ain't true.
That is not the reality.
I have had my fair share of relationships, black, white, Hispanic, Asian, and not going to say who, what, where, when, where, and how, like we're in a Cat in a Hat book. I'm just going to say I've only had maybe 2 relationships with somebody that was like good with money by themselves. I ain't talking about somebody that pays the bills every time they get paid and ain't got nothing else to show for it. I ain't talking about, no. That's a different time. That's a different type of chaos I ain't talking about. If you work only to pay your bills and you ain't trying to get to a better position, or that's what you do is you live within your means so tightly that everything around you is tight, that's a different kind of crazy. I'm sorry. There's people out there making $80,000, $90,000 a year living in apartments because they say that I like living in an apartment. Huh? What happened to owning land? What happened to generational wealth? How are you promoting generational wealth by being okay with living in somebody else's responsibility? Yes, it's a mindset shift, but how? I mean, yes, at some point, some people get in this position where that's where they have to live because of their income. But when someone is making that amount of money and they're not being taught how to not just diversify their income, but create passive flows of that income to where that $80,000 could be almost like $180,000. We can't have those conversations because everybody's like, oh, well, you was just lucky to be taught. No, I had to educate myself.
Yeah.
I didn't get my first house until I was 47. Don't get it twisted. Don't get it twisted. I'm just better at learning how to not fail again when everybody wants to say, well, what do you see as failure? Buying a home is not, being able to buy a home is not failure. No, I'm not talking about that. My failures stated I knew that the financial understanding that I did not have was something I needed to have, and I kept putting it off. I knew it. I knew where the flaws were. I just didn't leap and jump. I never did. I blame myself for that. I can't blame nobody else. If people get rich, why am I struggling? I got to figure this out. As soon as I started figuring out, shit started lining up without effort. I just understood it. And then I had to go back and say, I got to teach my kids this.
You have to apply it after.
I got to apply it.
Yeah.
If I'm not teaching my kids this, why am I on this podcast teaching it? I sound like a hypocrite, but I'm not, because I am teaching my kids this.
Yeah, but you're also teaching the community and allowing the knowledge that you have in this lane. You're allowing that knowledge to be voiced and heard and given, and gems dropped about different things that people should be or could be doing better in their financial status.
And some people just, well, I can agree with that.
But you're right. I know exactly what you're about to say.
I mean,
some people will just ignore the shit.
Well, it's not
and
even just, right. And it's not even just ignore it. It's cognitive dissonance. It's like they know that they have to do better, but they don't do better. That's like someone that smokes cigarettes. You're going to smoke cigarettes, even though it tells you it causes cancer and everything else. You got the cognitive dissonance to know that, but you're still going to smoke. That's like alcohol. If you abuse alcohol long enough, you'll get, cirrhosis of the liver or some other ailments that will completely affect you if you abuse alcohol. But people abuse alcohol and not casually drink. There's two different types of conversations when you have that discussion. See, when it comes to financial wealth, when it comes to financial understanding, not just within the wealth, but to the generational wealth and to creating generational wealth is not just about having a lot of money in the bank.
No.
It's not about the tens of millions of dollars you were able to create, not just for your legacy, but for the legacy of other people around you. No, that's not what that's about. Generational wealth is the byproduct of getting to get the education. When you have the generational wealth, yeah, you have something to back you up. Granted, you have something to back you up. But nobody has to have $1 million in their bank to know how to, be smart with their money and never be broke. Always have, a few dollars in their pocket if something goes down. And then where inflation is, a few dollars then went to a couple of thousand.
Yeah.
I mean, back in the day, you could hold $40 in your pocket, maybe 60, and you got a lot of money.
Right.
You holding some bread. I mean, you could buy you some candy and fill up your car and buy you a couple of drinks, whatever, and still got $40. Mm-hmm. Now, with $60?
That's just putting gas in the tank. That ain't doing shit else.
That's maybe a half a tank in some cars.
Right.
I mean, I know our truck, we probably could take about, but if we, $60, that means our gas tank is a quarter of a tank, maybe a half a tank.
Yeah, I was just going to say maybe a half, a little over, but that's pushing it.
But see, now we have to adapt to inflation. We have to adapt to the realization that the dollar is losing its value and inflation is taking over, which means the cost of everything is going up as well. And then people will say, well, that means that the dollar is gaining value. No. Things are becoming more expensive to build and create, and the dollar is starting to lose its control and starting to lose its validity.
Yeah.
And when it does that, it creates a sponge. But it creates that sponge where you have that rough side on the top, the scouring pad on the top, and then the soft, sponge on the bottom. That's what it creates, because you fall into the system or to the program, or you actually create your own business that you're able to make money based off of how hard you work or where you work. It's never based on what survivability it should be within the land. It should not cost an arm and a leg for people to be able to own property and buy a house.
Facts.
If they're told to go to school, get an education, and get a job and work.
Yep.
Why is it so hard to pay McDonald's workers better income? Hell, why we can't pay our teachers better income?
Yep.
They're in the position to teach these kids. If we're going to be sitting in this program, why is the program so crappy about its reciprocity to people? Mm-hmm. It's like you're not making good money unless you've been a teacher for 10 years, and still that's not even really good money.
Yeah. It's funny because another quote that I found that fills in right here is from @Tanya_T_. What most people think generational wealth is your children being handed or inheriting a large sum of money. What generational wealth really is: financial assets and non-financial assets, which includes knowledge, skills, and connections.
Well, absolutely. Absolutely. Because that is exactly what generational wealth is. It's like we're not saying you're supposed to just sit there in the lab and create a bunch of mini Warren Buffetts.
Yeah.
It's like you need to create future adults who can navigate the financial world confidently. And that means through learning strategies from other rich people. And I completely agree. Yep. The system doesn't want it. They don't want it at all.
Nope.
And if they absolutely hope if they wanted people to know, it would be easily available for people to know. No, it's like, oh, dang, you got to listen to this podcast because the dude is funny and he talks about the shit that we don't know. But he's so serious about teaching it that it's like, why can't you? We should just be able to listen to it. This would be like what we do in the evening when we're chilling.
Financial information should be free everywhere.
If I could do this every day, or just, something that it'd be motivational, and I have motivational talks for 15 minutes and it'd be just something that you listen to. I mean, I don't know if people would want that, but to me, I would want that.
Right.
I would want to know, okay, what are they talking about? Why does it sound so difficult? Why is it so hard? It's like you got to get people to understand the basics before you teach them the advanced stuff.
Yeah, you can't get into the technicalities and advanced knowledge before you hit the basics.
And that's the same. And guess what? That's the same thing with our kids.
Right.
We have to basically teach them the same things that we need to be taught. But the thing is that when we get taught it, we have to understand it, why it's like that.
Yes.
Because we all know how kids are. But why? But why?
In one ear, out the other.
But why?
Yeah.
So it's something that we have to make an apparent understanding that people need to be okay with being okay with educating their kids when it comes to finances, and being uncomfortable with the fact that you may not have all the answers.
Wow.
Hey, you're absolutely right, because if y'all only knew how much flack I was getting for doing the podcast that I'm doing.
Yeah. Hope said in the comment, mad people are dropping the dimes of knowledge and now moving the bar to get to be in the top 10% of the population.
And this is the thing. If we had better education and made smarter decisions with our money and didn't live paycheck to paycheck or didn't have so many bills, would people want to change? And then people will say, well, yeah, I would want to change, but what should I do? I tell people all the time, if you're really trying to change what you spend and how you spend, stop buying every damn thing. Like literally, stop buying stuff. Only buy the things that you need to survive, which is food and water and, of course, shelter. Now, everybody say, oh, that's the well-knowns, but you got to have a job. It's got to pay for it, whatever, right? So are you doing something you like, or are you doing something you were forced to do?
Right.
It's like, yeah, absolutely. If they want it, they're going to do it. It's like, stop making excuses as to why you don't have, or why you only have a little bit of, or I have what I need. I'm comfortable. It's like people settle for not wanting to do better. But they want to be with people or have those relationships with people that make, 10 times the money they have, so they don't have to worry about that type of shit. No, it's like, why come you can't create that? You can create it with the simple fact of just having trust in yourself, because what you do is a direct representation of how your kids see you, good, bad, or indifferent with money. And those kids will make a decision. Some kids will make the decision that I'm not going to live like that. I'm going to make sure I know what I need to know about it, because blah, 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 blah. And I'm going to take care of my mom so she could do this. I'm going to take care of my dad so he could do this or whatever. Right. You might have a kid that's like that. Then again, you might not.
True. So
it's like, why put our kids through a decision phase of something they shouldn't have to be making decisions on?
Yeah.
We should be wanting them to have the most comfortable life and less stressful life, other than little sister and little brother fights, or little brother and little brother fights, or little girl fights. That stuff is typical. But if we're not sitting down and actually saying we need to have a discussion with our kids, and we need to make it fun but educational and something they're going to be receptive to, but we need to be serious about it, because when they get 16, we can't say you need to get a job so you can understand responsibilities, and don't even teach them how to balance a checkbook. Or they go and try and, start being a responsible young adult and buy their first car, and they can't, because one, their credit score is like a 300, because they have light bills and cable bills and shit that ain't been paid in 3 or 4 years that then went in default.
And they looking like, huh? How the hell did that
That's
get
our
on
old
there?
address. How the hell I got a light bill in mine? What the heck's going on?
Right.
It's like you should be able to teach your kids responsibility so that you can pass on the responsibility. I know parents that will give their kids an American Express card in their name with their own account with the limit of how much they spend. And then when they get jobs, their responsibility is to ensure that whatever they spend, they put back on that card.
Man.
So it's only going to teach them one or two things.
Yep.
Oh, he going to pay it off if I... So what, let's max it out. He going to pay it off. No, the hell I'm not. What did I tell you when you got the card?
That card in your name.
The minimum amount you use on this card is this amount. If you go over that, you paying me.
Interest.
It's not even about the interest. It's about the responsibility piece.
Yep.
It's giving the kids the opportunity to be responsible and learn the benefits of being responsible, but having them understand that at a very young age, so they have not even just something to look forward to, but something that they can be already practicing when they're younger. Because I remember we used to have a little cash register machine with the fake money in it, we used to sit around there and take the Monopoly money and stuff it in that damn register, and then we would play store, and you'd be sitting there trying to ring people up. Bling, bling, bling. All right, $122. Man, all I got was a banana and a TV guide. I mean, this is my store. This ain't no other store. You know, you be playing games, and you open the cash register up, and they give you a little $500 bill, and now you got to sit around and do your little third grade math and try to figure out $622. I gave you a $500 bill. How you going to give me $600? Go ahead. That's how we teaching our kids, believe it or not. They're not teaching them responsibility. We're not even understanding that some of this could help, I think, begin a better relationship with our kids if we take responsibility for the things that we didn't know growing up, and how we're changing that so that our kids can not only understand responsibility, but be that person and be that bridge catcher and say, okay, I get it. So what if I wanted to do this? How would I get this? And y'all just sit down and y'all strategize.
Yeah.
Well, I know you have to do this, but we can talk to the banker and find out if this, and this. And everybody's like, talk to a banker. You got to have all this money. No, you don't.
Not to ask a question.
You got financial coaches. You got all kinds of, if you've been with your bank for a long period of time, they sit there all day wanting people to come in and ask them questions about finance. All they do is sit here and tell people, no, you can't get a loan. Fill this application out so you can get a new debit card. You are applying for a new car loan. It's like, why wouldn't you want to sit down and have that conversation with, oh, I get it.
People are too prideful.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're very prideful, and they're embarrassed.
Exactly.
To ask the question.
Exactly. Hoping a lot of them do it for free. A lot of them do it for free. Guess what? Some of them you can just type in their website and get the information from there. Since we're in this, technological age,
Right.
You can go
because a lot of it is like
at your fingertips.
FAQ, which is a
frequently asked question. Yeah. So we got to do better, y'all. We have to have those uncomfortable conversations and be able to bring piggy banks back. I'm just saying.
Absolutely.
Bring them piggy banks back. You gotta be able to bring those piggy banks back, lemonade stands, creating like a goal chart. Yep. You can set up a savings goal chart and say your savings goal is this. Say they wanted to, they want to freaking buy their first dress that they can wear at the quinceañera, or they want to, have a birthday party, but they want to buy their own dress and they want to save the money up to do it. It's like, have a goal, have a chart set up, and then you can go through the whole thing and track their spending. It's like if you give them an allowance, exactly, Money market account for kids, not toys. Absolutely. Absolutely. I still use money market accounts to this day as an adult. Just say, oh, I got some extra money. I'll put this in a money market account for 2 years. Just throw it in there.
Let it marinate.
Let it marinate. Because you never know. You never know when you're going to need it. You never know when you absolutely are going to need to just use that money for something.
Yeah.
Yeah, you take penalties on if you take it out early, but shoot, 2 years, you got money to stash when you like, psh, I put $2,000 in this money market account. It just got a little bit of money on it, but it says it matures in April, so I need to take it out in April because I can use this to pay off one of these credit cards and then sit and wait a month, see my credit score jump up, and boop. It's like you could do so many different things with money market accounts, or they have accounts where you can put your money in and the interest that you get on your money makes you, I mean, you have to start off with a higher amount of money. You can't just go in with, $100. Most of these accounts, you have to start with $20,000 or $30,000 to open, or even $10,000 to open. And once you get these accounts, you're basically your own bank, because it allow you to borrow the money for like other interests. So like say you have $40,000 in this, say, private account, and you want to take 25 out to do some repairs on the house that you own, that you are renting out, and you do your repairs and everything else, and then as the person pays the rent, you're putting that profit back into that account, but your account is still operating as if you never took it out, and you're getting positive interest on that account. And most of those accounts, you can start off at 5% and they can go as high as 15% or 20%. But see, you have to be in the secret conversation in the bank and hold a certain amount of money in that bank before they even have this conversation with you.
Facts.
So it's like, well,
because they don't know your name as a regular JoJo walking in there, cashing your check or taking out a little bit of money or whatever. But as soon as you got that kind of money in the bank, they know your first name. They come into the door, opening it. You got a glass of wine. Right. Bring you coffee, wine, cheese, whatever. The whole charcuterie board.
All that bullshit.
I mean, shoot.
And it's crazy because it's like you have to get to a certain status to have these conversations. When you realize that you have to get into the certain status, it's like, okay, but what are these banks? What are the benefit of these banks?
Right.
It's the account. It's the benefit of having the account. It's the benefit of being able to be your own bank and borrow from yourself and arbitrage your money. Look up what arbitraging your money is. Arbitraging your money is it's almost like compound interest on steroids.
Mm.
It's being able to use the money that you have in that bank to grow your money. That's what the banks do. You think you put $30,000 in one of these banks and they not using that money for loans, for car loans, for credit cards? You don't think that's what they're using your money for? Yeah, that's arbitraging your money. They make money off of your money and you get 0.01% back for having it in the bank. Spank you very much.
Right.
That's exactly what banks do. They arbitrage your money. So why not have an account that you can arbitrage your own money and basically profit off of what you arbitrage? Oh yeah, I'm gonna have $50,000 and then I'm going to take 20 of it out and buy some stocks. And then my payback is whatever I set it up as. But it's still showing you have $50,000 in that account. And then when you bring back, say, your investment, you done made your money plus say another 20. So you putting 40 back in that account. Now that account's at 90. Or is it? You put the money back that you already borrowed.
You didn't factor in all the interest it was earning while you had the money out.
Absolutely. So it's not going to be 90 unless that interest has caught up to where it's going to push it at 90. What it's going to do is it's going to credit your account back to what it needs to be, plus whatever it was when you took it out, with all the interest that you put in there.
Yep.
And people just rinse and repeat. People just use that money, have a investment, put the money back in there when they're done with it because they made their investment and now they're profiting their money because they borrow from their own bank. It's like these are so many different things that people can do that a lot of people don't even know about it.
No, because it's not open or free knowledge or being even discussed in any conversation that you're having with your friends or your network of people.
It's not supposed to be. I'm going to be honest with you. It's not.
It's a secret squirrel club.
And people say it's a secret squirrel, but guess what? I found this out and it's not a secret squirrel conversation. If I know it and I'm sharing it without asking for a cost,
right,
that means it's out there for everybody to know. It's just people don't want to do better.
They don't want to do all the research themselves.
Absolutely. So
they want a quick answer.
No, they don't want a quick answer. They just don't want to work at it, and they want something they want quick money. They want the get rich quick scheme. They don't want the do the work and let the money do the work, because that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to put your money to work. Your money's supposed to be at work. You supposed to be working to get that money, and once you put the time in to get that money, you're supposed to put that money to work. You ain't supposed to just get that money and then spend it on just whatever. It's like I want, $1,000 to go shopping, and you ain't done nothing. You think doing chores and having A's and B's, I'm supposed to just give you $1,000 so you can just trick off and spend it on whatever you want because you're spoiled? No. I didn't work hard just so that you can just be taking thousands of dollars out of my account so you can just go, frankly, the hell off in any whatever store you want to just because your parents got money. No, bruh. No. See, what ends up happening is you learn responsibility over here. And even if I don't got it and you working hard to get it, I'm going to teach you how to keep it. That doesn't mean that I ain't working out my own plan so that I can get my dividends in a situation to where when my kids ask me for money, I can give them some money. I'm not there yet. I'm almost there. Actually, shit, I don't even know why I'm sitting here trying to be funny with it. I'm almost there. Give me a couple of more days.
I'm so done.
But on a serious note, though, I think we have to do better. If we know better, we do better, right? But
absolutely,
if we don't know, how can we know? We always know that this is the conversation that people say it's a secret squirrel conversation, and it's not. We're making it a secret squirrel conversation because we're making excuses for it, for us not knowing. Stop making excuses. Tap in to whatever podcast or people that you love to listen to and suggest topics. Suggest a conversation that would not just implore your knowledge to be able to just gratifiably go in a different direction, but that other people could do it too and say, I think it's funny. I think it's this. I think it's that, whatever. Or be a guest on That's What I Said podcast. I got some finishing words, but I'm not going to say them right now. You got anything for the people before we get up out of here?
The only thing I have is invest in you and be be the person that has the knowledge and shares the knowledge, and not just your own family, but to your friends and their families. Do that. Be an empower of yourself and your finances and everything else in your life. Thanks for tapping in and tuning in. Peace.
No doubt. So Thursday will be my 100th episode. I know I announced a couple of weeks ago I was going to do something big and have guests and everything on. I'm really not. I don't think I'm going to do that. I mean, I will have the option to call in. If people want to call in and say something, I will put that information out on tomorrow. And another thing, another one. Let me put this in the chat, and I will put it audio wise on the podcast as well. So I've been talking about my website for quite a while, and I haven't been able to get it online because I was having it, get a facelift, because I wanted everybody to be able to have access to the podcast. That's my first, action. And there's more coming. Don't get it twisted. So if you go to the website, ThatsWhatICed.com, you will see every podcast, just about every podcast that I've done. You will also, if you go on the About Us page, you will get a more detailed and elaborate expression of my podcast and a photo gallery. What's going to come next? We will have a blog. No doubt, my brother. No doubt. I appreciate it. I appreciate you listening, brother. So yes, go to the website. Merch will be linked to the website shortly. Additionally, there's some more things coming. Like I said, just know that it's a process. I'm grinding. I'm doing what I got to do. Be looking out for a Patreon. I will have a Patreon that will, I will get into details about it on Thursday, which I think will be the best time to talk about a Patreon. I will have a subscription. I won't launch the subscription yet, but it will be available as I add to it. I'm going to build it up. So I'm going to create a Patreon, have a Patreon page where you can follow the podcast. And then eventually I will have that link on the website. But right now you can go to the website. You can subscribe to the YouTube channel, because this podcast automatically gets streamed directly onto the YouTube channel as well as the video. And then if you just want to listen to the audio portion of it, you can do that as well. So with that being said, y'all, appreciate the time and energy y'all took, as y'all always do on Tuesday, to sit down with your boy, Cedric, on That's What I Said. Please make sure y'all tapping and tune in to every episode we do, because it's on Facebook, it's on YouTube, and of course, if you listen to the podcast, it's wherever you listen to podcasts. Apple Play Store, Apple, whatever you call that shit. It's the Apple iTunes Store or podcast. You can pull up podcast and type in That's What I Said as well from your iPhone. On Google, it's in your Google Store, as well as iHeartRadio, Deezer, Spotify, and everywhere you pretty much listen to podcasts. And if I'm not there, please let me know, because I will try to get myself on that platform. Anyway, y'all, I said what I said, and that's what I said. I'm out of here. Peace and love to y'all. We will see y'all on Thursday. Peace.
That's what he said with Cedric D. Sanders.
Thanks for listening to another episode of That's What I Said with Cedric Sanders. Make sure to like and subscribe to the show on your favorite podcast platform so you never miss an episode.